with Rashford and Lukaku and Martial if he's on fire. But still, I think Man City would prefer this game against Man United than against Burnley.
We'll get into the nitty-gritty a little bit later on. Jimmy talking about the football there. An argument has been brewing over tactical fouling ahead of this one. Let's hear what both managers have had to say.
We've got to turn up. We've got to be ready for the press. We've got to be for their pressing, because they've got quality on the ball, so we've got to defend well. When we win it, we've got to be ready for their aggression, because they will snap at your ankles and heels and kick you. They're not going to allow us easy counter-attacking, because there will be fouls. Don't worry, absolutely no doubt about it, because when you watch them games, they commit so many players forward, and they'll be stopping us as high as they can, I think.
This morning, Solskjaer has said that he's preparing his side to receive lots of fouls from your team. He said that they will, I think, snap at
a lot of
fouls from your team towards Manchester United. He said,
so we are going to make fouls to them?
Yes. He said that they will snap at your ankles and heels and kick you, not allow you any easy counter-attacking, because there will be fouls. Now that's
Did he say that?
Yeah. And that's
with 75% average or 65 or 70% average of the ball. How you do that?
Well, no, I'm just telling you what he said. But I mean, Jose Mourinho said a similar thing. How tiring does it get for you that this thing about tactical fouling keeps being labelled at your team, you and your teams, that when oppositions try and counter-attack, you tactical foul to stop that?
I don't have any comments about that. So I never prepared a game since my 10th season as a manager, thinking about these kind of things. Never. And my players can talk better than me about that. The players who I had in Barcelona and Bayern Munich here, one of the targets is about the contracts for the opponents making faults. Never said one player make a fault to avoid something for the other ones. Football, sometimes you do that. Football, the action is quick, fast. But I'm worried, really. I'm concerned many other things about the game to have to play to beat them than these kind of things. So I don't know. Tomorrow in the press conference after the game you can ask him again about that, so I don't know.
Another little side issue, as if we needed one ahead of this game, but just to give you the disciplinary records this season, only one red card for City all season and 38 yellow. Actually, only Liverpool, the other title challenger, have conceded less yellow cards this season. What do we make of this little subplot then? What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying?
Not sure he was saying it so abruptly as has been portrayed, let's say. Of course there's going to be fouls, it's a derby, everybody's going to be wide in, and a lot of the time stats are like that, and you just mentioned the next or the best team for is Liverpool. Well, it's because both those teams have got the ball most of the time.
Thank you.
That they hardly commit any fouls, and when they do lose the ball, look at Manchester City's press, look at Liverpool's press. It's not to foul players, it's to win the ball back, and sometimes you do take a risk, because it's worth taking a risk of giving a foul away if you can win the ball in the opponent's in the final third. So it might appear that way, but I'm going to say I have sympathy with Pep. I don't, because I totally believe him in that he would never send his players out and say, if you lose the ball, make a foul straight away. I mean, it's better to win the ball back quickly in the opponent's final third. So, I think it's a nothing story, really.
It's he's trying to be a little bit smart. He's trying to be, highlighting little fouls that won't be getting yellow cards, because he is going to play on the counter. The counter and transition is going to be vital for Man United tonight, whatever you say. And if little fouls get made a lot, what Man City does well at times, because they take the chance to do that up high, he is not going to be able to get into the game. Man United is not going to be able to get into the game. And that's going to be a very important factor for Man United. But then on the other hand, Man City is really good at it. They do make small fouls, but they have the ball that much that they don't have to make that many small fouls, if you understand what I'm saying. So Ole has been a little bit naughty for my liking, but he needs to be. because he needs that edge.
Is that what he's trying to create here?
I think he's probably trying to let the referee know,
Yeah.
listen, he knows that he's not going to have the lion's share of possession tonight. He knows that their biggest outlet and their best chance of winning is to win the ball back and break quickly. So the last thing he wants on the few occasions when this is going to happen, because Man City don't lose the ball that often, and if they do, it's because they have a shot and it goes out and now it's a goal kick. They're back and they're in their shape. But there will be a few occasions when United win the ball back and can pounce. And he's probably just highlighting it, maybe so the referee is aware of it, let's say, to say that if we do that, this is our best chance, so we don't want to be brought back and fouled, let's say, a small foul. Because they are important, that's their best chance. A small foul in your own box can lead to a stopping a big chance at the other end. So I think he's just making probably the officials aware of that. But nothing more. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's spoken to Sir Alex Ferguson about it as well, if I'm honest.
For sure.
Because he was perfect at doing that. Just saying something in the press conference the day before, just to sort of resonate with the match officials.
Man City, to win this game tonight, have to control the counter. If they control the counter, they will win the game. Finish.
Fine. They've won 10 in a row, Manchester City, let's not forget that. They got the goal against Spurs at the weekend. Is this the type of performance, 1-0 after the Titanic battles, that win titles?
It is, and they frustrate the opponents as well. So Liverpool will be watching this and 1-0. You almost prefer them to win 4-0 and just, at least they deserved it. But when you see the amount of challenges, or the amount of chances, I should say, that Tottenham had, it will almost be a dagger into Liverpool's heart, just thinking, Tottenham could have nicked something there. I don't think it'll be the case now. I think there'll be a few goals in the game tonight. And I agree with Jimmy in that Manchester United's best chance is to be on the counter-attack, because I see City being in total possession, control of the possession. We're going into the game with two real differences in terms of form. As you say, City are winning and winning and winning, and United are on a real poor run.
6 defeats in 8.
Yeah, I mean, it's really poor. And we watched the game on at the weekend against Everton. It's as bad a performance I've seen in a long, long time in terms of effort and commitment from Manchester United. So, a lot of people say these derby games, form goes out the window. It will need to, otherwise it's it's going to be a certain Manchester City win.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does go out of the window because it's a derby, different rules. But I think in the latter part of the season, nerve comes in. Games are not being won that easily anymore. The 1-0s, they do come up. If you look at Liverpool, previous 4 matches, they've been getting goals against, and it's not being as easy as in the past. And the same with Man City. Doesn't matter how good you are. We are now at the business end of the season, is getting the job done. Yes, against Tottenham they give a lot of chances away, but they got the job done. It's the stress that comes on top of it, and you can see that with Man City today. It might be a little bit different. I don't think I agree with Mike. 1 goal. I don't think that it will be 1 goal. I think there will be more goals. But then still, it will be a business-like performance, I think, from Man City.
Okay, well, let's go live to Old Trafford, where a former Premier League winner, or 5 Premier League titles, treble winner, Wes Brown, is waiting to speak to us. Good to see you, Wes. The first obvious question is, do you want Manchester United to win tonight?
Certainly do, Stuart. It is one of them games. I've had a lot of people ask me, who would you rather win the league? Yes, I would rather Man City win the league, but not on our behalf tonight. We've got a lot to play for tonight. We're still in for that 4th position because of the other results in the weekend. So I want to see a good performance. It was very poor at the weekend, so I need the lads to step up today and show the fans what they're about.
What would be your mindset if you were a United player in that dressing room running out tonight?
Like you say, derby games are difficult. You've just got to be focused. I mean, I wanted to win so bad. Sometimes it could be a bit forensic. Tackles flying in all over. You know, I want the lads to get up in, you know, Man City's faces today, and if we give them too much time, we know that they're probably going to dictate a lot of the play because they're so good on the ball. But I like to see maybe some early tackles and telling the Man City players that, you know, we are on the pitch as well.
Wes, how concerned are you with Manchester United's form at the moment? I mean, we covered the game at the weekend and they were absolutely awful against Everton. Does that matter a jot in a derby game?
I think it still does matter. I'm hoping, you know, especially from the weekend, a lot of the players are hurt by it. They'll know, regardless what they think, that it's poor, it wasn't good enough, and they're going to have to show a lot more grit, determination and passion if they want to get anything out of the game tonight.
And in terms of the top four as well, aside from what it can do for Liverpool and the title, this is a crucial one for Manchester United. How important is it for player retention and recruitment that United are in the Champions League next season, Wes? Yeah,
well, I think the manager's mentioned it over the last couple of press conferences that there's a lot of places on the line here. You know, it's not just about today's game, but the previous, like you said, 8 games. I mean, before that, the lads were flying, so we know what they can do. But the form's dipped dramatically, and that can be only the players. You know, they're showing less determination, and you know they're not running. They're not running as further as the other teams. So the manager's told them that, you know, there's not improvements. There could be a lot out. So I mean, it's for someone to say that, and a player, as an ex-player, you know, I'll be trying everything I could do to try and keep my position, and hopefully I'll be here at the end of the season. Yeah,
the stat that Michael and I alluded to at the weekend is that Everton ran 8 kilometres more than United. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened in your day at all. That would have been unacceptable.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, training when we were there was fantastic. You know, we used to run all the time. It wasn't a problem, but it wasn't. It was a given. We'd do it anyway. You know, we knew that was part and parcel of it. Obviously, there was times when we weren't playing well, but we'd win 1-0, 2-1. We'd grind the win out, and a lot of that was just by determination, running, getting about people, tackling, and that's what we need to be bringing back and doing tonight.
And just before we let you go, there's a man in the studio here who you have memories from right at the start of your career, don't you, Wes?
Well, both of them, really. But yeah, my debut was against Jimmy. Just to make it clear, he didn't score on that day.
I didn't score, you know for sure, yeah?
not when I come on, but I did come on as a late sub, but yeah. Good memories.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, enjoy the game tonight if you can, Wes, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, Wes.
Wes Brown. Now, Paul Pogba has reacted to that defeat we were talking about at Everton on Sunday. He's been speaking to Sky Sports' Laura Woods.
After the Everton game, was there a lot of speaking amongst you? Did you all have something to say about that performance?
Obviously, we let the manager speak, the staff speak, and they say just the truth. What we did in the pitch is not respectful, just for the teammates, for the staff, for the people, for the kit man, for everyone. I don't know if it's enough, but obviously that the fans want reaction of the players, and the only way to apologize to them is to give everything on the pitch. And the body language as well is not good enough for this shirt, because when you're here, you deserve it, and you have to give, I would say, your life.
What are the key things that you think you need to work on as a team?
The key thing is just go back to the basic.
And what are they?
It's really simple, but it's really hard, because the basic thing is work for your teammate, stay in your position, defend, and ask yourself, did I give my best? Could I do more? Could I do less? Did I really play for my teammate? And this is things that make you grow, because you're your first enemy. That's what I always say, you're your first enemy, and just give your best for the team. Try, keep trying. You do mistakes, we will always do mistakes, that's for sure. Nobody's perfect. You
have this huge game, this Manchester derby coming up on Wednesday. Could a loss like this be turned into a positive, like you say, and give you more motivation?
For sure, and we know it's a derby as well. It's beautiful to win against those top teams in the league or in the world. You just want to beat them, because I always say, to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Strong words there from Paul Pogba. Did you ever in your career come off the pitch knowing you hadn't given your best.
No, and that's it was refreshingly honest of Paul Pogba there. Well, I said it at the weekend. You know, there is one thing that fans can't and shouldn't accept, and that is a lack of effort. It's unforgivable. It should never happen. Okay, like I've probably gone in my career maybe 2-0 down or something, and your shoulders sag and there's 5 minutes to go and you know you're not going to win the game. You might kick out or you might get frustrated or something. But to just wander around and to hardly try when you're closing people down, that is the one thing that you notice before anything else. When you're out of possession, how quickly do people close the ball down? And that gives you the best indicator straight away of how you're on it, how everybody's fighting for the team. Are they closing down hard with purpose? And Paul Pogba was one of the main culprits at the weekend, literally limbering up and it was just the body. He mentioned the words body language. He was just wandering up to people and they're just passing it past him that way. It was awful, and he wasn't the only one, and that is unacceptable. And I'd be ashamed if it happened to me once in my career or anyone else, and it happened. Matic here. Sigurdsson's, he's one of the slowest players in the Premier League, and he's burst past him, and there's no closing down, there's no nothing. It was shambolic at the weekend.
How bad in history or United performance was this, Jimmy? From all the ones you played against the great teams and the ones you've witnessed, where?
I have never seen this from Man United. I've seen them being beaten against Man City and other teams, and they've lost 6-1, but they didn't give this kind of performance. It was not this kind of performance, and that's what I can't understand that, because I was never that kind of player. I loved playing football, and I hated losing, and I would go always on that pitch. It was a norm, giving you all. That it doesn't come in your mind, or I don't like playing today. You know, and I'm not saying that they had that. I'm not saying that, but
well, they clearly had something.
Yeah, it's almost very difficult to answer this question.
It is so difficult.
It's alien, and I'm almost accusing a lot of players there at the weekend of doing something that I believe I never did, and that lots of players never have done. It was that, wow, what am I watching? We said after 2 minutes, didn't we? We're watching it and thinking,
what's going on?
What's going on here? It's like they're not trying.
With all due respect of Everton, with all due respect, but how can Everton win 4-0 against Man United? That easy. And it could have been more.
Yeah.
Now, that tells me that something is definitely not right.
Jim, you've been a manager. Have you seen that from any player that you've managed, and you've looked at him and thought, he's not giving his all today? And how much did that hurt you if you had seen that?
I've seen that, yes, as a manager.
Is that the unacceptable line?
Unacceptable. Me, personally, even as a player, if I see my teammate doing that, unacceptable. But as a manager, I've seen that. And you have to act. You have to act straight away. And it might be that it is one of your better players, and a player that you think that you need, but you have to put him out straight away. You have to put him out, because end of the day, the team, the club, is more important than one individual.
Which brings me very nicely when he says if it's one of your better players, back to Paul Pogba, who was talking there tonight. All kinds of speculation about his future at the moment. Even if he, we're speculating, even if he does want to move, is tonight a night where he has to show what his credentials are?
And he will. I mean, every Manchester United player will tonight. It's the derby. There's billions of people watching around the world. You know, it's a big game for them. They need to get into that Champions League position come the end of the season. So you will see a different Manchester United team tonight. And I can accept poor performances. We all can. I played badly. We've all played badly in the game. But it was just the lack of effort in closing down, in trying to win the game, that was astonishing at the weekend. And it must never, ever happen again. You know, the first thing that any fan, any teammate, any manager, anything, anybody expects from you is 100% effort. I mean, that's not much to ask. When you're getting paid well, you're playing for a top team, or whoever you're playing for, you're getting paid to play this game. Effort is the
money. The money has nothing to do with it. Nothing, absolutely nothing. When you put that shirt on, when you cross that white line, there is where it starts, and there is where it's out of a question. You give your all. You give your all. For the tactical side, for the mental side, for yourself, for your family. I wouldn't be able to look, if I would have done, I wouldn't be able to look at my children.
That's what it is.
You know?
Personal pride. You can't, you know, how can you live with yourself if you haven't tried that day? And as I say, I am accusing a few of them. I'm going to say, you know, but I watched the game, and I would accuse them of some of them of, in fact, I'd love to get the clips and say, this is downright laziness. They didn't, you know, close down quick enough, and there was a lack of effort. They're not trying in certain situations. I would say that. But you're going to see a different Manchester United team tonight because of all the reasons I've just said.
In terms of Pogba, he hasn't got a goal or assist in the last 8 weeks. He divides opinions, seemingly. If you were Manchester United manager now, Jimmy, would you keep him this summer? Is he trustworthy enough to build the team?
What the most important thing is for Paul Pogba and the manager is you need to get him committed. So he needs to decide, do you want to stay? And if he says no, get the most money you can from him, because he needs to get out. Because one thing Man United has to do, they have to start all over again. Now, if that is with Paul Pogba, then you have to build a team around Paul Pogba. If that is not with Paul Pogba, then you have to find somebody else who can create, who can do the things that Paul Pogba can do. But for me, it's all about what does he want. Yeah? What does he want to stay? If he wants to stay, I don't want to hear you anymore about Zinedine Zidane and Real Madrid and all this kind of stuff. Basically, you don't want to force him. It has to be a privilege for him to want to play for that club. And he has to commit to that club. And then it's finished. That's for me it.
You were at the club when he was there as a teenager, Paul Pogba. Where are you now with him? Would you be disappointed if he left United in the summer?
Well, there's no disputing his talent. I mean, we just saw the stats then, the goals, the assists. There's no disputing it. He is a fantastic player that really is one of the best in the world ability-wise. He needs to work harder out of possession. He still, despite his age, could do with watching a video on Paul Scholes on how to play one touch and two touch instead of taking so many. He still infuriates you when you watch him because you think there's so much in there and you're not giving it. He's head and shoulders above most players. Would he infuriate you
if you were playing where Marcus Rashford is at the moment? If you were his teammate now, would he infuriate you?
Yeah, well, yeah. If I was managing him, if I was playing alongside him, because I think he can bring so much more. That's a compliment.
But Michael,
because he's so good.
Sorry to interrupt you. If you were playing with him, if you were the striker, he would not have that many touches, because you would demand it that he would play that ball earlier. 100%.
Yeah, I'm astonished that at the age he is now, he's still quite a raw player. You know, he's got all the ability in the world, but especially being at a club like Manchester United, I would have thought he'd be like coached and coached and coached, go and play more one-touch football. Even if it meant go and get Paul Scholes in to coach him a little bit. Just stand on the side and almost coach him through a game and, you know, tell him, actually, you took 3 touches, you could have done it in 1 or 2. And just try, because I think there's so much more, which is scary considering how good he is now. I think it's scary how good he could be. But I'm just concerned that he's getting to an age now whereby, if you're not going to learn by now, is he just going to be this Paul Pogba all his career now, which is an unbelievable player, don't get me wrong. But I just think he could be the next, you know, when Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi go, who's going to fill that void as the best player in the world? He's got the ability to do it, but I just fear that he's not going to because he's not learning fast enough.
So, if United are going to win tonight, does he have to be at the top of his game? Is Pogba the key to that, Jimmy?
Not only him, he's going to be the key, but everybody has to be at the top of the game of Man United. And the subs that are coming in have to be at the top of the game. yes, he will be the one that people look at, his teammates will look at to create something. What I do feel at times that he is at a level far better than the teammates around him. So sometimes he does try to overdo it because he doesn't get the 1 or 2 touches back, or he doesn't get the ball back on the safe side or the right side, and he does overdo it because the other players are not as good as he is. When he plays for France, he plays different. He does play more 1 and 2 touches, but it's being demanded of him. It has to be demanded as well at Man United of him. I do think, coming back to your question, I do think that he has to be at his best tonight with the others to be able to beat Man City.
And is Martial in a similar category for you?
Martial's a very talented boy as well, got a lot of pace. I forgive him a little bit more if he takes the odd touch. He's in a position where he can.
But he was one on Sunday that got levelled with the same.
He was exactly the same. His closing down was non-existent really. His work rate, I'd love to have seen the individual running stats because I guess he would have been very low on it. But his general play is a little bit different. As I say, he's an attacking player. He can afford to take a few touches, try to open something up, whereas in certain areas Paul Pogba has got to be a little bit disciplined, and I think that's probably where he lacks in his game. Going forward when he's off the leash, he can do what he wants, but in certain areas of centre midfield play, you've got to be quite disciplined.
He's got so much talent, Martial, so much. The thing that frustrates me of Martial is his body language. He looks majority of the time that he's not bothered, and that can help him so much if he works on his body language a little bit. I would think that he would get more the ball, more help of players. That is just me talking from outside in, looking at him, but he's got an exceptional talent, and he doesn't do these kind of things often enough.
Yeah, a lot of these really talented players are a little bit quirky, let's say. You get your bog standard footballer that'll do anything, that'll run through a brick wall for you. It's the real genius type talented players that you've almost got to nurture as well. They've got such a talent, but trying to get them to do the basic things is often the hard thing, which is quite astounding. But he is so talented, Martial, and he's certainly a player that, again, would be in the starting 11 every single time at Manchester United if he was consistent.
You talked about the race for the top 4. Let's have a look at those fixtures remaining for the challengers. Huge result, as we've mentioned, for Tottenham last night. They're on to 70 points. 2 of their last 3 games are at home. 3 behind the Chelsea, whose next game, let's not forget, is at Old Trafford on Sunday against United. Arsenal, we'll get to them later in the show, have a huge game tonight away at Wolves. In fact, 3 of their last 4 games are away from North London. And what are 2 games for United? The derby tonight we're talking about, then Chelsea, and then potentially 2 easier fixtures to finish. Most people think Tottenham, we'll get to them later, are in that top 3. Who's the other team, Jimmy, going to be?
I do agree. I do think that it is Tottenham. I'm a little bit biased, so I'm going to say Chelsea, but Arsenal, for me, it's going to be between Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea does have to win all their 3 games. I don't see Man United beating Man City, and I also don't see Man United beating Chelsea. So they are out of it. But then it is between Arsenal and Chelsea.
Chelsea's running is quite tough, isn't it? Away at Manchester United, at home against Watford team that are playing particularly well this season, and then another away game at Leicester. Now Leicester are still showing off to their new manager, playing for places next season. It's a tricky end to the season for Chelsea. I think Manchester United, they have to win tonight. They have to win tonight, and then they've got Chelsea, and then it could be a toss-up between those 2. Of course, Arsenal have got plenty to say about that, but Arsenal have got some tricky away fixtures themselves, and we all know about Arsenal's away form. So it is still open. What you can say, if Man United draw or lose tonight, they're out of the race.
So just to clarify, who's going to finish fourth?
Chelsea.
Thank you. Now, Raheem Sterling has been one of Manchester City's key players in recent weeks. He knows this game is huge for the club, but insists their approach will be the same.
Nothing changes, no matter if it's away, whoever we're playing, it's always try to have the ball and have control. And I think that will be a massive game tomorrow with their fans as well, that I know will be loud and raring. And we've got to try to, you know, at times when it is difficult, try to get the tempo back to how we want to play. And I think that's a massive factor tomorrow.
At the start of the season, if somebody would have said to you there's a domestic treble on offer, you probably would have taken that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, exactly. 4 games to go, and well, 5 games including the Watford one. Someone said that to us at the start of the season, bite their hand off and play these games, but it's a great position to be involved in. It's something, you know, if we don't do, we'll be very disappointed in ourselves. But at the same time, you just got to
8 or 9
in all competition.
In all competition, Man City has done the same. If Liverpool keeps on winning, they can have 96 points. But if Man City keeps on winning, they have 97. And it would be so hard for Liverpool, you know, if they lose with 96 points the Premiership. They do stay really calm. They do see like they are in control when they are playing. It is not as good to the eye as in the beginning of the season when they were playing. They were more fluent, Man City, but they still get the job done. And the bigger the occasion, I feel, for them, the better they become. The more stress on the game, the better they become. You know, and that is a good thing. And especially Sterling, how good has he been playing? How magnificent has he become? How important has he become for Man City?
He's scored big goals, Jimmy, hasn't he?
Particularly, he's improved so much. His shooting at goal, his 1v1s. You know, things that has happened off the pitch haven't affected him. He's just been amazing. Amazing.
Liverpool sold him for 47 million. Seemed a lot at the time. How much has he improved under Pep Guardiola, Michael?
Oh, he has improved a lot. His end product in particular, you know, his assists and his goal scoring. He was always very good at running and dribbling. But this season he's just added numbers to his game that we've never seen before from him. So again, a lot's been said about him. He's been the standout player in the league this season, along with Virgil van Dijk for me.
Yeah.
And you know, to be the star man in that Manchester City team takes some doing when you look down the list of players that they've got. But he's been the star man in that team. And they need him again just for a final push in these last few games to get over the line.
And just quickly, Jimmy thinks Burnley might be a problem for City. Do you think if City win tonight, that's the end for Liverpool?
No, I agree. I think that if they win tonight and against Burnley, then I think it opens up and they won't lose after that. But I think Burnley is a tough game. At home, they're not going to lose. And away, if they need to win against Brighton, last game of the season, they're going to win. These next 2 games is what it's all about for Manchester City. I can't see Liverpool slipping up in the next game. So I think we're pretty much going to know who's going to win the league just before those Newcastle and Leicester games for each respective team. The next 3 games, as you see them, Huddersfield, Man United and Burnley, they're the key.
Yeah, I agree. I think they will enjoy more playing against Man United than playing against Burnley, because of the way that they play, because of the way that the players that they have, and also the way that Burnley plays at home. They're very direct, very much in your face. Set pieces are hard to defend, and that is not really Man City's style, and they will suffer against Burnley.
Much more on the derby to come, but after the break, there was a late strike for Christian Eriksen for Tottenham, while Shane Long's super-fast goal isn't enough to get Southampton's win and safety.
The English Premier League. Manchester United. Manchester City.